Going to open your camera app, and what you want to do is you want to find some light sources. So I have some windows here. And you want, so if I was standing, so the window's here, if I go in front of the window, in front of my art, I'm going to start to create some shadows. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to face the window so that I'm not creating any shadows, okay? And when you're doing this, and we have a kitty with a kitty piece of artwork, just, for reference, you want to get your camera so that it is level or parallel to your image. So what that means is that your camera is on the same angle, okay? So right now, I'm parallel with the floor as well as parallel with my artwork, okay? So that when I'm looking in my frame, do you see here? So it's gonna go a little messy because I'm gonna show you, but when you're looking around your artwork, because we can crop it after, you wanna try to get as straight and even of a border as you can, and then you're going to take the photo, okay? If laying it down flat, maybe it's a little bit shiny, or maybe the lighting in your house won't allow you to really get a nice even light on your piece. You could also, I would tape it from the back, okay? But just for demonstration's sake, we'll leave it like this. Put it against a vertical surface, okay? But do you see how, because I'm holding at the bottom, it's curling it? So it's actually distorting it. So it'll need to be taped for me to be able to take the picture. But when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're finding really nice light. Okay, so now that we've taken the photo, so I have an iPhone, so the interface is gonna look like that, but most phones have similar things. So when I open the photo, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to click edit. In your cropping function, there should be some kind of function to straighten. I like to do this first, and when I'm doing it, I'm trying to take a look, and there will be a little bit of distortion, but I'm trying to look as I'm straightening it around, looking at sort of creating the best possible outcome for cropping, okay? And then I'm gonna go in, this one has a little bit of a border, I'm probably just gonna get rid of it so that it doesn't show if there's any kind of misalignment, okay? And crop in. So I'm gonna say done, okay? Now it isn't exactly the color, the actual color is a little bit warmer. So what I actually wanna do is start to go in and play a little bit with the functions in the camera, but not so much. And I think it's gonna be in our, a little bit of our saturation, as well as our warmth, okay? Because the paper is actually a lot of a warmer sandy color. Just trying to get it to as real as it is in real life, okay? When you're editing, you don't want to over edit. Okay, so if so an over edit, I'll show you what that might look like. If I'm in, a lot of times the auto, sometimes I'll do it. You can try it and see. But so that's an over edit. Do you see how that no longer looks like the original piece of art? It's really grainy. It's not keeping the same details. Okay, so you want to be careful that you're not over editing. Okay, that can also be done with sometimes I see it a lot in saturation. So if I oversaturate, it doesn't look like that in real life, okay? It looks kind of cool. So you are the artist. So if the edit adds to your artwork, that's also okay, but you don't want it to get really grainy or look like you've put too much of one filter on it. If you're not sure, you can send me the photo and I'll let you know. Or if you're not sure how to edit it, because you're like, this is what's wrong with it, how do I fix it? Also let me know, I'll probably know what to do. So I'm gonna say done, and now I have this lovely edited photo. So there's also a few free apps that you can use in my little photography folder here. The two that I would recommend are Snapseed or the Photoshop Express. You could also do Lightroom Express as well. Snapseed has some good little quick things. So we're gonna go in, we're gonna open our image. We're gonna press the little editing icon here. And then that's when we're going to start to look at tuning the images, the crop if you want. There's different options in there for you. And with this one, when I pull down with my finger, it's going to give me the different options. And they're similar to what's in my iPhone editing app, but depending on what phone you have, you might not have as many options. The healing brush is a good one as well. That's in here. That's not in our regular phone app thing. So say over here, this little mark, say I got a scuff on my artwork that like isn't meant to be there. These ones are kind of process marks, so I would actually leave them, but just for the sake of demonstration, what you can do is you can go in, if there's a scuff, and I normally do it in smaller chunks, and what it does is content aware, so it's going to grab stuff from around the area to fill it in or heal it. Be really careful with that, again, that you don't over edit it. But if you had, say like in that top up by the cat's head, say there's a big line across it because it got scuffed, I would use the healing brush to get rid of that. It's kind of like an eraser. It's a digital tool, okay? So Snapseed is a good one, as well as the Photoshop Express or those types of things, okay? The biggest thing though is to make sure that you're trying to get your photo as straight on as possible with the best light, okay? Anything else can be tweaked in an app, but if you photograph it crooked or at an angle, there's no real way to fix that distortion really well, okay? So lighting and making sure it's square are the biggest things. And then most other things can get fixed with editing. Now, one of the other things I want to talk about is if we're taking a picture of something that is primary, like if it's a lot lighter, okay? Do you see how the white of the paper is a little gray? Now, most cameras on phones have this like focus toggle thing. With an iPhone, if I press it, if you lock it, it'll lock onto it. So if I'm a little wiggly, it'll stay, but then there's a little sun beside it. So if I want to brighten it a little bit, so up the exposure, I'm just gonna pull it up just a little bit. And again, trying to get it as square as possible and taking my photo, okay? Do you see how it just went dark when I let go of that lock? And that's not necessarily true to what it looks like. So this is called exposure compensation. So if your piece is really light, then you might need to bump it up before you take the picture. You can also edit it a little bit afterwards, but I'd rather do it in camera.